So today we're going to talk about section 4.1, which is called mid-segments of triangles. Okay, and this is a relatively short chapter, so there's going to be no quiz during this chapter. Okay, again, there's no quiz in this chapter. So what the triangle mid-segment theorem says is that if a line segment joins the midpoints of two sides of a triangle, then the segment is parallel to the third side and its length is 1/2 the length of the third side. So when you look at this picture probably explains it better than those words. Okay, so again, this point D would be the midpoint of AC, and E would be the midpoint of BC. So if you take those 2 points and connect them, so the one that I just re-highlighted in purple there, hey, that's going to be 1/2 the length of AB. So if AB was 8, if I take 8 and divide it in half, I would get 4. You could also go the opposite way and say if you take 4 and multiply it by 2, you'll get the length of AB, which is 8. And again, DE is going to be parallel to AB. Okay? And again, if D is a midpoint of AC, that means that AD is congruent to DC. Again, that's why the hash marks are through there. And same thing on the other side. If E is the midpoint of CB, that means that CE is going to be congruent to EB. And again, pretty much those are the words right here that I was just saying. If D is the midpoint of AC and E is the midpoint of BC, then DE is 1/2 of AB and DE is parallel to AB. So again, that's referencing the 4 and the 8 and the fact that DE is parallel to AB. So here's some examples. If D is the midpoint of AB and E is the midpoint of AC, and if DE is 40, let's find BC. So here's DE is 40. I want to find BC. BC is the longer side. That means I'm going to have to take DE, which is 40, and multiply it by 2. So the length of BC would be 80. I'll erase that one, and then we'll do the next one. So now if AD for part B is 6, I want to find DB. Again, if D is the midpoint, that means that AD is equal to DB. So that means that DB will be 6. On the other side for part C, we have AE equals 11. So AE is the one that I just put the 2 hash marks through. That one's 11. And we want to find AC. AC is the entire side. Okay, so if AE is 11, that means that EC is also 11 since E is the midpoint. So the entire length AC is going to be 11 plus 11, which will be 22. Okay, again, let me clean up this picture so we can do the next part. Okay, and let's change our color. Okay, so in part D, if BC is 35, we want to find the length of DE. So this time I'm going from the larger side to the smaller side. So we're going to take that 35 and divide it by 2. And when you do that, you should get an answer of 17.5. And for our last one, if the measure of angle B is 62, so this one is 62, I want to find the angle ADE. And ADE is this angle here. Again, keeping in mind that DE is parallel to BC, so this would be a transversal, which means this angle that I'm putting that X in and 62 are corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are congruent, which means the measure of that angle will also be 62. Okay, in triangle ABC, D is the midpoint of AB and E is the midpoint of AC. If BC equals 7x minus 1 and DE equals 4x minus 2, find X, find DE, and we also want to find BC. The thing that's going to help here the most is to draw a picture. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw any old triangle ABC. Okay, it does not matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter if it looks like an equilateral triangle. It doesn't matter if it looks like a scalene triangle. It doesn't matter if it looks like an isosceles triangle. So there's triangle ABC. D is the midpoint of AB. So I'm just going to go to AB and put a point in the middle, and now that's going to be point D. And E is the midpoint of AC. So again, I'm going to go to AC, I'm going to put a point right in the middle, and I'm going to call that E. Okay, and then it says BC is 7x minus 1, and I want to find DE. So let me connect D to E, and that is going to be 4x minus 2. Okay, so again, DE is going to be half the length of BC. Or if I take DE and multiply it by 2, it's going to have to give me that 7x minus 1 back. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to multiply it by 4x minus 2, and that will give me the entire side of BC. So on the left, let's distribute. I'll end up with 8x minus 4 equals 7x minus 1. Subtract 7x from both sides, and I'm going to have x minus 4 equals negative 1. Add 4 to both sides, and x is going to equal 3. Okay, so that's one thing that we found. We found our x, we've done that. Now we need to find the length of DE. So DE was the one that was represented by 4x minus 2, and we just found out that x was 3. So all I'm going to do is take out x and plug in 3. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 minus 2 is 10. So your length of DE is going to be 10. Okay, and then I need to find BC. Couple different ways that you can do that. I'm doing lazy man's way. Okay, BC is going to be twice the length of DE. We just found what DE was. DE was 10. So if I multiply 10 by 2, BC is going to be 20. Hey, if you don't want to do it that way, you could have taken the 7x minus 1 and plugged the 3 in again and found the value. 7 times 3 is 21, and 21 minus 1 is 20. And that's exactly what we got when we did it the lazy man's way. So either way, you can get it either way. Doesn't matter. Okay, in 3, it says the lengths of the sides of a triangle measure 5, 6, and 9 inches. Find the perimeter of the triangle formed by connecting the midpoints of each side. Well, if you're connecting the midpoints of each side, again, each side is going to end up of the midpoints when you connect them on the inside is going to be half of the original triangle. Okay, again, it doesn't matter what your triangle looks like. There's the midpoints, and I'm going to connect my dots for my midpoints there. So we basically want to find that small inside, that blue triangle on the inside. Again, it doesn't matter which side you call what. If I call this side 9, that side 6, and that side 5. So if the side over here is 9, that means the segment that I'm going to highlight in red first here, that means that's going to be half of 9, which is going to be 4.5. Okay, then the second one I'm going to highlight in red is going to be this one here. That's going to be half of the one that is represented by 5. So that side is going to be 2.5. And my last side here will be half of that 6, which will be 3. So the perimeter of that red triangle now is going to be 2.5 plus 4.5 plus 3. Remember, perimeter, you're adding all the sides to find the distance around. And when you add those together, you should get an answer of 10. So 10 is the answer for 3. Okay, what are the 3 pairs of parallel segments in triangle ABC? Again, you can see that you have the mid segments. Again, how do I know that? Because you have these hash marks that denote that each one of those pieces is congruent to the other piece. So all of these points are midpoints. Okay, and again, if those are midpoints, then the mid segments are going to be parallel to the sides opposite. So that means that DF is going to be parallel to AC. That means that DE is going to be parallel to BC. And lastly, that means that FE is parallel to AB. Okay, and that's all you have to do for that one. Okay, and our last question we have in triangle XYZ, MN, and O are all midpoints, and we want to find the lengths of YZ, MN, and XM. Okay, so YZ is this entire side here. So again, if I look for the mid-segment that's directly across from that or opposite that, the one that's parallel to that, that's here. So again, YZ is going to be twice the length of that smaller green line, which means YZ is going to equal 2 times 3 or 6. So that takes care of the first piece. MN. MN is this piece that I'm highlighting in orange. So MN is going to be half of the side that's parallel to, which is going to be that other longer side that I just highlighted in orange. And again, this is going to just take one little step here, an extra step. Hey, if OZ is 5, that means this side is also 5, again, because O is the midpoint. Okay, which means the entire side, XZ, is 5 plus 5 or 10. So MN is going to be half of that 10 or 5. So MN is going to equal 5. And the last one I need to find is XM, and XM is here. Okay, and in order to find XM, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to find the entire length of XY, and then I'll take half of it. So again, that entire length XY, the side that's parallel to that, the mid-segment that's parallel to that is labeled 4, which means this entire side is 8, which means the two smaller pieces that make up that 8 are going to be 4 and 4. So XM is going to be 4. And that is everything that you've ever wanted to know about the mid-segment of a triangle.